she's so fine. Hell of a ride, blows my mind. Hell of a lights my...
What's good, guys? This story is coming from the Associated Press. Black-owned California beachfront seized 100 years ago could be returned to owner's descendants. I'll play the video that goes with it shortly. Los Angeles County plans to return prime beachfront property to descendants of a black couple who built a seaside resort for African Americans, but suffered racist harassment and were stripped of it by local city leaders a century ago, a county official said Friday. It is the county's intention to return this property, Jessica Hahn, a member of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, told a news conference at what was known as Bruce's Beach, in the city of Manhattan Beach. The decision in Los Angeles County, the nation's most populous, comes at a time of national reckoning on race and discussions at the local, state, and federal levels over reparations. It comes after multiple property transfers over the decades. Today, a county lifeguard training headquarters building sits on the property along some of the most coveted coastline in Southern California. The property encompasses two parcels purchased in 1912 by Willa and Charles Bruce, who built the first West Coast resort for black people at a time when segregation barred them from many beaches. They built a lodge, cafe, dance hall, and dressing tents with bathing suits for rent. Initially, it was known as Bruce's Lodge. Bruce's Beach became a place where black families traveled from far and wide to be able to enjoy the simple pleasure of a day at the beach, Hahn said. It did not last long. The Bruces and their customers were harassed by white neighbors, and the Ku Klux Klan attempted to burn it down. The Manhattan Beach City Council finally used eminent domain to take the land away from the Bruces in the 1920s, purportedly for use as a park. The Bruces had their California dreams stolen from them, Hahn said, and this was an injustice inflicted not just upon Willa and Charles Bruce, but generations of their descendants who almost certainly would have been millionaires if they had been able to keep this property and their successful business. After lying in use for years, the land was transferred to the state of California in 1948, and in 1995 it was transferred to LA County for beach operations and maintenance. The last transfer came with restrictions that limit the ability to sell or transfer the property and can only be lifted through a new state law, Hahn said. State Senator Stephen Bradford said that on Monday he will introduce legislation, SB 796, that would exempt the land from those restrictions. After so many years, we will right this injustice, he said. If the law passes, the transfer to the descendants would have to be approved by the county's 5 board member of supervisors, said Liz Odendahl, Hahn's director of communications. Manhattan Beach is now a Tony city of about 35,000 people on the south shore of Santa Monica Bay. Its picturesque pier jets into swells prized by surfers, and luxury residents have replaced many of the beach houses along an oceanfront walk called the Strand. According to census data, its population is 78% white and 0.5% black. The current city council this week formally acknowledged and condemned city leaders' efforts in the early 20th century to displace the Bruces and several other black families, but stopped short of formally apologizing, Southern California News Group reported. We offer this acknowledgement and condemnation as a foundational act for Manhattan Beach's next 100 years, a document approved by the council says, and the actions we will take together to the best of our abilities, in deeds and in words, to reject prejudice and hate and promote respect and inclusion. A hill rising steeply behind the beachfront property has a beach parking lot, and above that is an Ocean View City Park that was renamed Bruce's Beach in 2006. The lot and park were not part of the Bruce's property and would not be part of a transfer to the family, Odendahl said. The value of the property has not been assessed, she said. A return of the land could include an option for the Bruce descendants to lease the land back to the county for continued use. Let's cut to the video.
I inherited this movement on Juneteenth of 2020 when I realized that the history on that plaque was inaccurate and incomplete. And while my initial thought was to have the plaque demolished, death to that big slab of concrete, Source moved me to demand that the land be given back to the Bruce family.
Our next steps, to get possession of our land, then have a week-long family reunion with 3,000 black Bruces out here on this beach.
Now this tweet came from Janice Hahn, and she said, "It's official. We are taking the first steps towards returning Bruce's Beach to the Bruce family. They had their property stolen from them, and they would have been millionaires if they were allowed to keep it. This is the right thing to do." And she released this media release. Now this is from April the 9th. Now it's on letterhead, Los Angeles County Supervisor Janice Hahn, 4th District. Media release. For immediate release, April the 9th. Leaders announced legislation as first step towards returning Bruce's Beach. Hahn announces intention for county to return beachfront property to descendants of Willa and Charles Bruce. Manhattan Beach, California. Today, LA County Supervisor Janice Hahn, State Senator Steve Bradford, LA County Supervisor Holly Mitchell, State Assemblyman Ann Maratucci, and other prominent local leaders gathered at the beachfront property known as Bruce's Beach to announce the first step in the effort to return the property to the Bruce family. In 1912, a young black couple named Willa and Charles Bruce purchased beachfront property in Manhattan Beach and built a resort that served black residents. It was one of the few beaches where black residents could go because so many other local beaches did not permit black beachgoers. The Bruces and their customers were harassed and threatened by white neighbors, including the KKK. Eventually, the Manhattan Beach City Council moved to seize the property, using eminent domain in 1924 purportedly to create a park. The city took the property in 1929, and it remained vacant for decades. There's got several comments. This lady says, "My God, I'd never heard this horrifying story. They took their beach just because they could and preferred it to see it empty, than see it as a place African Americans could just relax and enjoy themselves. Revolting." Absolutely. This person says it took 97 years. By stealing that property, whole generations of the family were deprived of countless opportunities. It's good to see that it is finally given back, but the wrong that happened can probably never be righted. And then they replied back and said, "This is not a complaint towards Janice Hahn. It's so good to see that someone finally does something. It's just shameful that it took so long to get the right people into the right positions to get it done. Basically, everyone else in her job during the past 97 years failed." This one says, "They personally must have and need decades of reparations. First, hashtag cut the check. The fallout of not having a place for black people in that area to go and chill and enjoy recreation has had long-lasting and infinite consequences, too large to measure. You reap what you sow. Hashtag be one." This one says, "I've never been prouder of a public official. This is true public service. Bravo, Supervisor Hahn. Hashtag good trouble. Hashtag history has its eyes on you. Hashtag liberty and justice for all." This one says, "MB City Council has been an absolute embarrassment to its constituents. So thanks to you and the county for taking the steps to do the right thing. We're watching and counting on you to finish the job." The next one, "A great beginning and a very thin slice of what's needed. Reparations. Not just for slavery, but for everything additionally stolen from African Americans ever since." Someone says, now make Manhattan Beach pay reparations." "I'm so glad about this, and you are righting a century-old wrong." So it looks like it's got positive results. One thing that bothers me, though, if I can just be honest with you guys, is anytime I do a story regarding reparations, and I've done several of them, they don't get the views. And I'm like, I don't understand that. It's very puzzling to me. Anytime I see the word reparations, I click on it because I'm interested. Maybe folks just ain't interested like that. I don't know, but I certainly am. Now, there's a lot of people that don't know about eminent domain. And with eminent domain, if the state or county or what have you wants a piece of your property, at least here in the state of Kentucky, this is our process for that. They will come out, attempt to buy that property from you. You can counteroffer. It's either accepted or denied. And to be really blatantly honest, it doesn't matter because they're going to end up taking it in eminent domain anyway. So it's always good to get paid for it on the front end, because if you don't go along to get along, they're just going to take it from you anyways. So eminent domain is it's a real pain in the ass, to be real honest with you. I'm going to end the video on that note. But anything regarding reparations, I'm on top of it. Please believe me. You guys have a great day.